Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. This week I want to talk to you guys about executive dysfunction, what it is, some tips on helping with it, and how it kind of can relate to ADHD. So this video might be a little bit all over the place and definitely not an extensive video on executive dysfunction. I don't know if one video could be an extensive list or source. So if anybody wants a part 2 or more information on one specific aspect of executive dysfunction, please let me know in the comments. I would be happy to do it. But honestly, I'm experiencing executive dysfunction right now, so I did the best research I could, and I'm also on a time limit right now. So I pulled together what I could, and I hope you guys enjoy. So I wanted to first go into, I looked up like what the executive functions are. Some places say there are 7, some 8, some 12. There are a lot, but this should kind of get an idea of like what we're talking about. So what I found for the 7 executive functions are adaptable thinking, planning, self-monitoring, self-control, working memory, time management, and organization. I saw another that talked about emotional control, and that's another interesting aspect to kind of bring into this conversation. But if you, like me, have ADHD, you might recognize a lot of these words and phrases as things that you struggle with or have been told that people with ADHD struggle with. And yes, executive dysfunction, has a lot to do with ADHD and how our brains work. The ADHD experience is completely intermingled with executive dysfunction, and finding ways that work for you to deal with it and work around it and work with it can really, really help. Another thing that I think gets put in with executive dysfunction and like something that can be difficult is decision paralysis. This is something that I've seen a lot of ADHDers talk about, and it's that even two simple decisions or a simple two optioned decision, I don't know how to say that, can feel paralyzing. Do you want sushi or tacos for dinner? That should be an easy answer. But if you kind of want both, or I'd like sushi, but tacos are cheaper, and there can be a lot of just, you can't choose. You cannot choose an answer. And so that can also go into it, is decision paralysis can make it feel like you can't do anything. For me, I think a good way to explain executive dysfunction can be, it feels like you know all of the things you need to do, and you want to do them, and you just can't. You can't get yourself to move into gear to get things done. So there's a lot more to it. It's a very nuanced thing. There's a lot of just little things to it. I'm sure that there are much better ways to explain it. I'm just a little bit, my brain is a little all over the place right now. There's sort of an aspect of everything is hitting at all cylinders, and it's overwhelmed to the point of, I guess paralysis is a great word, and it can be really, really just hard and difficult, and it can really affect somebody who experiences it, self-esteem, feeling like you can't be productive even if you want to, can be really, really difficult and hard. And I think that it definitely goes into, there's a stigma that people with ADHD are just lazy, or people who have ADHD just feel lazy, or even, people who are undiagnosed and will look at a symptom list and start to relate, but then be like, no, I'm just lazy, that's all that is. And in reality, when it comes to executive dysfunction, it's not about laziness. It's, there's you can't will executive function if you experience executive dysfunction. You can't will these things into being. You can't will yourself to do these things because it's not about willpower. It's not about being lazy. I recently saw some tweet where somebody had talked about executive dysfunction, and then somebody had commented and said something like, it's not lazy, or talked about the concept of being lazy as a person with ADHD and how that's such a bad adjective to really use to describe that experience. And somebody had commented saying it's not lazy when you hold off peeing for 4 hours because you're doing something else and you can't stop yourself. Or I haven't drank water. I haven't filled my water. I've drank some water, but I've drank like a worrying amount of water, as in worryingly low, for like 4 days, I think, because I got out of the habit of filling my water bottle and every day. And even though I could just go downstairs right now and do it, I can't. One, working memory, I forget to bring it down with me. And two, the idea of pouring out the water that's in there, because I hate day-old water, it freaks me out. Pouring in the new water, filling the Brita filter, putting it back, and drinking the water feels overwhelming. And it's already 2 o'clock, which means the day is practically over. And what's the point of filling my water bottle at this point to drink it? I'm not going to be able to drink it in time. And so it's not just, oh, I'm not filling my water bottle because I'm lazy, and I'm like, nobody dehydrates themselves because they're lazy, you know? So I hope that makes sense. I know I've been going on for a long time. Hopefully editing will make this better because it's a little bit of a mess. So I want to talk about a few solutions and things. I hate to use the word solution because there's no one switch you flick and suddenly the problem's gone. But there are some techniques, I guess coping techniques, that can help working with your brain. You know, I think that what I've realized more and more over the years is that I kept trying to use neurotypical coping mechanisms on a neurodivergent brain. And that's like trying to put trying to put a corner piece, puzzle piece, in the middle of a puzzle. It's not gonna fit, and if you try and squish it in, you're just gonna hurt yourself. So, here are some things that I do sometimes. One of them is something I read recently and I want to try. I have continuously forgotten, but hopefully I'll start to build the habit. And it's a lot of times with executive dysfunction, there's something you know you need to do, and your brain just says, I can't do this right now. I can't. So, to ask yourself, okay, when can you? When will we do this thing? And setting a time, and then that way when that time comes, you can set your brain into gear. That sounds really, really, really helpful. I'm very excited to try it. I will keep you guys updated with how it works for me, but I would definitely try it yourself if that sounds like it would work for you. Another thing is lists. I haven't done this recently. That's something to think about. I need to get back into this habit, but I've talked about it before. I love to write a list every day on my phone, and that helps me to see everything I have to do. It kind of gives me, you know, the completed puzzle, and I can see everything that needs to happen and then organize which order things can go in, or, you know, okay, I know I have to do this, but it feels overwhelming right now, but this, which I also have to get done, I can do right now. I'm not fighting against that. Let's just do this. And I can see all of the different things that need to happen. So that works really, really well for me. Another thing that I've been doing recently that helps is the Pomodoro technique. I've heard about this a lot. I've been doing it for years. It works really well. The idea is, it's named after the Pomodoro kitchen timers. And the idea is to set a timer for 25 minutes. And for every 25 minutes of work, you take a 5-minute break. And then you do that 4 times, and then you get an hour break. I believe that's the format. I started doing it like that. At this point, I've learned kind of how long a break I need to the amount of work, how long I can work before I'm going to need a break, depending on what I'm doing, or a number of factors. But start with, you know, a 10-minute work to a 3-minute break, or whatever you need to do, but set a physical timer. And that timer can kickstart your brain. Another thing that people with ADHD often struggle with is switching between tasks. And so that can also help you to like your brain to kind of reset, to switch on to the next task and not feel so overwhelmed by it. That works really, really well for me personally. I'm sure there's so much more. So please let me know if there are more questions you have on this topic. I think that understanding executive dysfunction, especially how it can relate to your own life and experience, can really, really help a lot with finding techniques and coping mechanisms that will really work for you, and that can really have such a huge impact. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. Please let me know any other videos you'd like to see. Bye!